Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to your Sunday Tonic conversation with the Love Crusader. It promises to be a very, very powerful and fantastic edition today. We are talking about love making, not sex. Yeah, I know the topic that everybody runs from. Do you know the difference? Do you know there is a difference? Do you even know if there is a difference? So it's a topic for the matured, for the married, and for the soon to be married. You want to learn? Come learn. Invite your friends. If you're coming across this platform for the first time, it is Conversations with the Love Crusader. We talk about love, we talk about life, we talk about relationships, everything about love. That's what this platform is about. And you can always find us on YouTube at Men Fences TV, on Facebook at Men Fences, on Instagram, menfences_love, because I see many of us are beginning to connect with us on Instagram. And we just joined TikTok at menfences_love. So we are getting everywhere. We're getting bigger. We're getting wider. You can find us. We're trying to reach you on all platforms possible so we can get this message of love across. Okay, so today this is how the show is going to go. We have a recorded video already, which we're going to watch. Stay tuned, watch that video, and then send us your questions. We want it to be as interactive as possible. If you agree with some of the things that have been said in the video, you tell us you agree with it. If you don't agree with it, tell us why you don't agree with it, and let's have the conversation. Before I jump into the video, I have my co-host, my beautiful Titi Liar, here with me today. And Emmanuel will be joining us later on the show. So we are going to have both the male and female perspective on this issue. Let's trash it. It's always the big elephant in the room. Many people don't want to talk about it, but we are talking about it. What is love without love making? Let's go there. What is love without love making? Did I just say that? Good evening, brothers and sisters, and thank God for this opportunity to bring the word to you again. Thank God for this couples dinner, Back to Eden program. I want to thank all of you who have put the effort together in making sure that things keep going on and going well back there in Civil C, South Africa. The Pastor Solomon, and Mama Naomi, and every other persons, church leaders. I appreciate and acknowledge every one of you. And I thank you, and I trust God that you would not go unrewarded in the name of Jesus. Yeah, so I have been told to bring you some talk on bedroom matters, and the topic I have put up today is love making, not sex. Love making, not sex. So that's the topic for today. First of all, I would like to state categorically that whether it is sex or it is love making, biblically, it is meant for the marital bed. What that means is that the Bible expects that love and sex, love making and sex, whichever one, and very soon I will differentiate it because someone might be asking me, what's the difference? What's Mama talking about? Is there a difference between love making and having sex? But before we go into that, I would like to establish that according to the Word of God, sex or love making is for the marital bed. It is for the married. It is not an experiment for the young people. It is not a proof of love. I'm dating you, so to show that you love me, you have to sleep with me. That is not how God originally intends it, and it is a sin according to the Bible. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 9, that because we are burning with passion, we should marry. Rather than born with passion, please marry. I don't know, many people these days, they talk about marriage as not being in vogue, as not being a big deal, but it is. It is according to the word of God. And lovemaking, and yes, it's sanctioned, it is signed off, it is certified for the married. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 4 tells us that marriage should be what? Honorable, and the bed undefiled. Okay. What makes a bed defiled? Adultery. What makes a bed defiled? Love making. That is not love making. What makes a bed defiled? When two people come together, joining their bodies without joining their hearts. Okay. Let's try to differentiate. What's the difference between love making and having sex? Love making involves physical and emotional connection. Okay, let's first state it this very way, that sex is a connection. Sex is a way that we connect with another person. But sex on its own is just a physical connection. It's just a physical release, you know. It's a sexual release. It's just giving yourself sexual pleasure. Um, it is just the joining of the body. That's what sex is. And love making is physical and emotional connection. This is the reason why when we talk about marriage, when we talk about the bedroom in marriage, we should be referring to love making, not having sex. Because it is the joining, it is supposed to be the joining of your heart, of your soul, and of your body. It involves intimacy, it involves romance, it involves foreplay, lots of touching, eye contact. It is long-termed, it involves your emotion. It involves an emotional connection to this person. So it's not just about finding yourself, just taking off the clothes. Sometimes the way the world portrays this thing, maybe you're watching a movie, you see them, oh, now boy meets girl, the next minute they're taking off clothes, blah, 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 blah. That's not love making. That's not love making. Love making begins with an emotional connection. And for the couples who are married, those of you who are here today and who will take the message out, or who will hear this message after, what's expected of us is love making and not sex. Is it possible for people to be married? I mean, for them to be married, it means they are in love. For them to be married, they must have some form of connection with each other. But is it possible for people to be married and still be having sex? Yes. Yes. In fact, I dare to say that a lot of couples are having sex and not making love. Why do I say that? Some of them, give it to them, they are busy. They go out, everyone is struggling for this daily bread that God will give us grace because we're always looking for it. Excuse me. And they are busy, they run up and down the whole day, they come back home, they are tired. There's a sexual urge, so we just touch, bam bam bam, we hit, and we're gone and we're done. So it can be because we're busy, it can be because life has happened. It can also be because there's bitterness somewhere. And this I would like to really, really talk about, because most cases they will tell you that would not a man would always have the urge for sex, even if he's not happy, even if he's quarreling with you, even if he's having, a fight with you, the urge for sex is always there. But for a woman, she has to be emotionally happy to connect with you. I think both needs it. Um, at that point where a man is touching you, and when there is a problem, he's just asking for sex, and it's just sex that is gonna happen. If you want love making, as we have described it, and as we're talking about it, the joining of souls, of the heart and of the body, if you want that to happen, then you have to take away all bitterness, meaning you have to settle any issues that you have. If there is a quarrel, if there's a problem, you have to first deal with it, take it off, so that there can be a free joining of the heart and of the body and of the soul. So it's not just about joining the body. Um, there's also the third aspect of it, is that a lot of men don't actually know, or don't, okay, let me not use the word know, they don't take the time to go through the rhythm of foreplay. And foreplay is very important for a woman. You are not just going to come, and of course, if you come like that, you get what you are looking for. It just comes back, back, back. There has to be that time, long term. See, I use the word long term. Take the time to put this person in the mood. And putting someone in the mood, if I may say, does not start at the moment where you're in the bedroom. It actually starts at the beginning of the day. I mean, while you're at work, you're sending romantic messages, you're 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 prepping this person, you're prepping this woman, you're prepping this man, because it's not just a one-way thing. You're prepping the man. There's nothing wrong in a woman sending text to the husband and say, oh, today, it's going to be fire for fire, it's going to be this, that, I don't want to. When I start saying some things, that they say, hey, Jesus, is this woman still spiritual? Love making is a very spiritual thing. In fact, let me start by that. That's another problem we have. Okay, let me finish talking about the one of preparation first. You have to prepare. I was listening to a video one time, and the woman likened love making to having fellowship when you come to church. When we come to church, we don't just go straight into the sermon. Why? We come, we do praise, we will do worship, we will do some announcements, we will do some prayers. All these are what? We are watering the ground for the word. It's the same thing with a farmer. A farmer will not just go to the bush and throw his seeds around. No, he will go there, he will prepare the ground before he plants his seed. So if you want love making, and you want it to actually be love making as it should be, there has to be that preparation. There has to be, one pastor said, there has to be at least 7 touches. So when you come back from work, you're both tired. Don't leave the woman alone running the kitchen, running the kids. By the time she does all of those running around, she's too tired. She comes to the bed, she just wants to sleep. Also, don't leave the man alone running around, running and doing everything. Help yourselves. In the process of helping yourself, the touching can start. You begin to touch, you begin to play, and that is the beginning before you get into the bedroom. So the challenge is, for many people, they just want to run it into the bedroom, bam, and 40 minutes, 40 seconds, don't mind me, it's over. It's over. There's no time to really relish yourself. There's no time to really take when you savor, when you have a good dish, you know what I'm saying, good food, you don't rush it, you savor it. That's how it should be. You prepare, You prepare a table as God has prepared for you. That wife, that husband of yours is a table that God has prepared for you. And it is expected that you will do what you will savor it. You will take your time. The other aspect I also want to talk about is the spirituality. For us who are believers, most times we spiritualize things. I'm fasting. Oh, we are praying. Should I do this as a child of God? There's no boundary. As long as both of you are comfortable and you are well, don't do anything that will make the other one. I was counseling a couple, and the guy said, I have promised my wife I will not do anything that will cause pain. So don't do anything that will cause pain. But in the ambit of your marriage and in the ambit of love making in marriage, anything that both of you want to do is allowed. Scripture says in Genesis chapter 2, verses 25, it says they were both naked and not ashamed. If I want to continue to talk about that scripture, the next 1 hour I'll be here. Naked and not ashamed. I mean, some years back, we heard of a couple the woman had cancer, breast cancer, and it had been there for close to a year. And the man did not know. The man did not know. And when he was asked, like, how have you people been doing it? He said, well, this woman, she would not remove her clothes. She will not just take off the whole of her clothes. And so he could do it. And sometimes when he wants to touch the breast, she's like, oh, no, don't touch my breast. Stuff like that. How can you be married and not be naked? I know that, like I said, it's a whole sermon. Being naked and not ashamed is a whole sermon. But I'm saying, in the physical, let's even bring it in the physical sense. How can you be married and not be naked? How can you be married and not be able to explore your bodies? How can you be married and not be able to explore each other? Okay, my time is running, and I'm trying to really stay with time as much as is possible. Scripture admonishes us to fulfill each other's sexual needs. In 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 3. When we go into lovemaking, our goal is not to fulfill our own need, but to fulfill the need of the other. Let me explain this too. So if the husband is making love to the wife, he should be doing it as per thinking of what she likes, what works for her, what turns her on, what makes her happy. The wife also should be doing it as per what makes him happy, what turns him on. And by the time both do that, you get the beauty of lovemaking. For the women, a lot of times, and I hear this a lot in counseling, most women just come and lie down like a log of wood. You are not a silent partner in lovemaking. It's not sex, it's lovemaking. Both of you have to be actively involved, meaning as he's touching, you are touching. There has to be both that contact. There has to be eye contact. You're looking at each other. You're talking to each other. You're kissing. There's activity going on. It's not something for a non-participatory member to be involved in. So don't just lie down there as a log of wood. Don't just leave everything to the man and then come out and complain and say, oh, well, I don't get happy and I don't get satisfied. Most cases, when you participate, and I'm giving it to you as a woman, if you didn't know that, the more your participation in lovemaking, the more satisfied you can turn out to be. The more satisfied and the more happy you can turn out to be. So it has to be a participatory effort. Don't hide yourself from each other. Don't. And this has to do with, the emotional intimacy. When there's no lies, there's no secret, when we can be vulnerable to each other, when we can tell ourselves our secrets, when we can, no matter how bad you've messed up, you should be able to come back home to your wife, to your husband, and be able to say, look, I messed up. This is it. This is me. This is who I am. That's what emotional intimacy is. And if that is absent, then what you're doing in the marriage is sex. It's not lovemaking. But I wish that for every couple, because it is also God's wish that you will enjoy yourself. Songs of Solomon is one book that many times we don't preach from in the Bible, but it tells us a lot about love and love making. In Songs of Solomon 1 2, it talks about how the kisses, say, let me feel that those kisses of your mouth, because your love is better than wine. Some couple in that bedroom, they don't kiss. Outside the bedroom, they don't kiss. Kissing is an expression of love. Kissing is one of the foreplays of love making. So, and this doesn't have to always be in the bedroom alone. You can kiss anytime, anywhere. Okay. Some people be like, what's this woman talking about? Yes, kiss anywhere, anytime. Kissing is not a sin. It's not a crime. No one is going to stop you on the street and say, hello, why are you kissing? The people of the world take these things. They know these things. They take it and they take advantage of it. They use it. While we are forming spiritual, while we are forming holiness, this doesn't make you less holy. It doesn't make you less spiritual. Unless, like I said at the beginning, you are doing it with someone who is not your wife. You are doing it with someone who you are not in love with. That brother is sleeping with everything in skirt. That one is a problem. But within the confines of your marriage, within the ambience of your marriage, you have been given everything to enjoy. Kiss yourself. If there are challenges with physical health, yes, and I mean, okay, not physical health, but like physical appearance, maybe hygiene issues, talk about them. As a lady, dress very sexy. Like I said, the people of the world, this is also the same thing they've used to deceive us. Being sexy doesn't mean that you should dress ungodly. Be sexy for your husband. What is wrong with a married woman wearing bomb shot at home? I'm not saying wear bomb shot and go to the mall. You at home with your husband. Wear bomb shot. Look hot. Okay. Don't always wear mama's pants. All right. Let me not face the sisters. Brothers too. We always think it's the women who needs to look good for the man. The woman too likes to be able to come close to you and you smell nice. You smell clean.
Yeah.
You know. It's the ambience of the bedroom is enhanced by that good smell. So take care of your hygiene. Shave. Change your boxers. Okay. I don't want to go into all those details, but you know what I mean. Be good for yourselves, because this is the one that God has given to you. He said, drink water from your own fountain. This is the fountain that God has given to you. Let her breast satisfy you always, all the time. And someone might say, okay, when is it too much? It's never too much. Okay, my last counsel. If you are the type that have maybe young children at home, you have a busy life, please create time for yourself. Don't get burnt out. Sometimes Africans, we work this money. We don't even use it to take care of ourselves. Get a staycation. Get a day out. Go to a hotel. Keep these children with granny. Keep them with one auntie for one day. And go take care of yourself, because both of you need to be good. Both of you need to be sweet. Both of you need to be well, and all-round wellness, spiritually, physically, emotionally, even to be able to take care of those children. All right, so my conclusion: love making is what you're looking for. You don't want sex. I know nobody wants it. Sex is dry. Sex is boring. Sex can be gotten anywhere. But what we want to be able to achieve is to be able to make love to ourselves. You see, it's called making, means that you have to make. You know what it means to make, to create, to build. So do all of the preparations that is required. Don't rush it. Get into the foreplay. Take away anything that will disturb your emotions. If there are quarrels, if there are fights, if there are bitterness, if there are issues unsettled, settle them. settle them. Um, don't be overly spiritual about it. Be naked. Be naked. Be naked. And when I say be naked, I mean physically, spiritually, otherwise be open. Be everything to each other. Let your husband be able to say, I know my wife, and let the wife be able to say, I know my husband. That is what it means to be naked and unashamed. Explore yourselves. Take the time to explore yourself. Enjoy yourselves. This is what God has given you on this earth. There's no marriage in heaven. So we're not going to continue this in heaven. It's here on earth, but God has given it to us for an enjoyment. And don't deny yourselves. Don't deny yourself the beauty of it. All right. Thank you so much. I pray. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I believe you've seen that video. Yes, lots of comments already coming in. Questions, points. Go on with them. We want to see your question. We want to see your reaction. What did you take from that? What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? We'll just go on a short break and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Ooh, was that a hot video, Titi Liar? was that a hot video? I can remember when I was making that video how hot it was in the room, just me alone, talking about. I was trying as much as possible to be how would I say, to be careful of censorship, and people who would watch it, but what needed to be said needed to be said. All right, let's talk about it. Love making, not sex. Is there a difference? Do you agree with the idea that there are two different things? I'll start with you, Titi, and then we'll go to Emmanuel. Welcome, Emmanuel, everyone. Emmanuel is here. All right. Titi, go on. Do you agree with the notion that, there are two different things?
Well, I'm just thinking about it. Like, what's the difference really? um, I think it's just, I stand to be corrected, but I
Yeah,
think it's
go
just
on.
semantics.
Okay.
You know, I think it's just the case of, in an attempt to try to differentiate that, or to state that there's more, right? As in, there's more than just two bodies coming together and all of that. Aside from that, I think it is one and the same thing, or it should be one and the same thing. It
Okay.
should be. Let me play safe and say it should be one and the same thing.
Okay.
So,
Let's hear Emmanuel's opinion first. If I come, I'll bring a point that we'll talk about now.
Oh, yeah. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me clear
Yes,
enough?
clear enough.
Okay, awesome. Well, I do think they're strikingly different. Um, yes, there is the physical copulation, and hopefully we've told our viewers that this is adult conversations, but um, copulation is copulation. That's what we call it, medical terminology, or intercourse.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. But I think if we just say maybe it's all the same, animals do have copulation.
Mm-hmm.
Animals do have intercourse. What's then distinguishing us as more intelligent species from just what maybe animals do is there is that other factor behind it. And just like you said in the video, anyone can have sex with anybody or even anything. That's how low the bar can be.
Yeah.
So yes, there has to be a distinguishing or a line that lets us know there's a difference between lovemaking and sex. I do support that opinion that there's a difference between the two.
Okay. Okay. Sister Titi say it's just a case of it being more. And I think that more is what we are trying to emphasize. As far as we're saying, there's a difference. And I think I totally agree that there's a difference because um, even with the same person, you know when you've had sex and you know when it's love making. I stand to be corrected. I mean, okay, three of us are married. Even if we don't know if people are watching, all three of us are married. We put some bag, we put some years in the bag, so we can comfortably say it. I know that there are times when my husband has said to me, "I didn't feel you," and we actually had sex. But he said, "I didn't feel you." It's like you were not in it. So what is he talking about if there's no difference? Sister Titi, I'm bringing it back to you because you said you can't really see the difference in the
I'm
man.
not like for me, I don't think it's something that should that is what maybe arguing about or
So we're not
saying.
arguing it. We're trying to
Yeah, I
convince
get it.
ourselves.
My point is, if you say there's a difference, fine, it's okay. If you say there's no difference, it's okay. That's why I said um there ought not to be a difference. Like, because now we are talking as people that believe that sex or lovemaking should be within the context of marriage. So it should be within two people that are married, you
Mhm.
know. And what should two people that are married be doing anyway? you know? So ideally, and I say ideally not to say there's a higher standard or something, or normally, naturally, two people that are married engaging in sex or lovemaking, it, it should, there should be more. You should give of yourself, is my point. Natural is a normal thing that should happen, such that it should be so normal or so natural that there shouldn't be a difference, is my point. My point is that's the normal, no, that is supposed to be our normal, you know so in the context of marriage, lovemaking should be happening, you know and I don't think that, okay, the other person, I don't feel you, or I don't feel you as much, does not take away the fact that it wasn't love making. Yeah, there are days when you feel like you have experienced better. It could have been better, yeah, but I don't think you should take away from the fact that it is love making. And the whole idea of love making is in the mind of the two people that are involved. So for those of us that believe and that understand that sex or love making should be within the context of marriage, it should be love making all the time.
Hmm.
So when you start bringing that demarcation of sex and saying sex is dry, sex is uh, I don't know. I don't know. Again, I don't think it's something that should be. I agree. I don't. If you feel that there is a difference, I understand the when you say there's a difference for the sake of an explanation. But our normal should be lovemaking. Why are we even in the marriage anyway? Just like you said, sex, you can get it from anywhere. So that's the point I'm trying to. But I get the reason for the differentiation. Differentiating, is there anything like that?
Okay,
Differentiation.
so okay, okay, thank you. Thank you for coming to that point. So somebody said something, said emotional intimacy is the starting point. And I totally agree because like you said, yes, we know and we've agreed that this thing should be between two married people. And it's expected that the two married people are people who are in love. They're in love, that is why they are married, Abby. But is it really is it not possible, on a very realistic note, for there to be an emotional disconnect, even with two people who are in love?
Mhm.
Isn't it possible?
Very, of course. If it is not, if it is not possible, or it hasn't happened to you, then maybe you're not living in this on this earth. you know. But the fact that two people that love each other maybe having issues or they have an argument, that does not mean that they don't love each other anymore. That does not mean that they are not meant for each other anymore. These things happen, you know. We try to find a way around it, resolve it, and move on. Try to make it better, you know. That doesn't change the fact that I don't know. I don't think it's something we should belabor anyway,
Emmy,
but
what do you
I
think?
get the picture.
Emmy, what do you think?
Uh,
Emotional disconnects and emotional intimacy, doesn't it come, to play within marriage and within people who are in love?
yeah, as a moral perspective, I think the word intimacy is the one thing that distinguish um, sex within the confines of marriage from just sex, casual sex, or sex between, for example, animals, right? The intimacy part of it, and there are different layers or levels of intimacy. In fact, there are so many of them. One of them is what we've mentioned, which is emotional intimacy. And it comes back to what's going on in your mind. So, sex as an act is what's happening with your body, it's
Mm-hmm.
your anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
But lovemaking
Mm-hmm.
as an ART, not act now, as an art, is something that is going on through your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind is feeding your emotions. Your
Mm-hmm.
emotions is driving your biology, your physical body, right? So it takes a deeper meaning. Now, it's given that there is the ideal of what's expected, but we also know that, in the world we live in now, things are not really ideal. In many homes, in many marriages, things are not really ideal, which is why these conversations, they become essential for us to distinguish and help people know how to strive towards that ideal that, Sister Titi was talking about. So, where does the mind come in? How do you feel? What's going on inside of your mind? Like you mentioned, we're all married, and so many married people will confess there are times that you've been in your married bed with your spouse, but your mind isn't there.
Mm.
Your emotion isn't there.
Yeah.
Now, it can be because you're quarreling or there are issues going on. It can
Yes.
be because maybe something is happening at work. It can
Mm-hmm.
be because there's so many pressure. You talked about people that have young children, how they're torn apart, they're burnt out. It can be because of health reasons. Somebody is struggling with an illness.
Mm.
There's so many reasons that can impact the emotion and the mind and your intellect, such that your physical body is there. Now, this is even especially true for women. It's especially true for women because for a lot of men, if their mind and their emotion is not involved, it's very easy, it's very possible they're not even having an erection. So at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do. I'm right here. You say we should make love. I have not, what's the word? I have not deprived you, right, of your marital dues. I'm right here, but if my body won't move, there's nothing I can do about it. That's not on me. Because of course there's the backdrop of whatever is going on internally in terms of the emotions and intellect. And but for women, you don't see an erection just like that to know, right? So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the time it's not really easily seen, which is why a woman might tell you, well, I'm having headache, and men just chuck it down to whatever she just wants to. You know, a lot of men feel like, oh, here we go, he's having headache, or I am whatever other reasons that people tend to give to try to explain how what is going on the inside makes them physically not ready for this act, right? So you can end up still having sex in that situation, and it will not be lovemaking because one person is not there. So there is the depth of what should make intimacy strong within a marriage, and that's really what will drive the joy that you were talking about when it now comes to sex. That knowing, I like the way I was discussing the topic with my spouse, and I was telling her about how I like the way King James reference making having sex. It would say, and Adam knew his wife.
Knew his wife. Chai.
I, I
How
saw
can
I
you know
saw
somebody who is not naked?
my,
How
I saw
can
I
you
saw
know
I
somebody who
love
is
that
not naked?
expression
Okay.
because that expression, what it tells me, and she was like, yeah, it's just semantics. It just means Adam had sex with his wife. I'm like, okay, it's true, he had sex with his wife and he gave birth to a child. But I think what the writer was trying to drive at, beyond just saying they had intercourse, is to say there's a depth of intimacy, of knowing,
Hey,
that is an ongoing process between those two people,
depth
that
of
allows them
intimacy.
to no longer be two but one, such that
Mm-hmm.
when you get into the marital bed, it's no longer man coming with the woman to have intercourse. It's now oneness happening. What would ordinarily, that which God separated in the beginning, when he said, okay, it's not good for man to be alone, and he did a kind of mini surgical procedure to make them into male and female, made he them. The only time they truly come to be that original idea, and I may sound like I'm preaching now, but
Go
anyway,
on.
the only time they come to be that fullness of what God made in the beginning, that was all in Adam, is during that point where their body, soul, mind, everything is intimate, is all united into one. The two becomes one. And that's the ideal. That's what it should be in every Christian, every joyful, every marriage union should be experiencing that. Uh, so I've said a lot.
I feel like we should just close because you have just helped me to put the icing on the cake so beautifully. I like this word that you have just given to us. Love making is the depth of the intimacy of knowing, of knowing. That is why, oh, brother, brother, preach it. I like that you brought the fact that King James will always say Adam knew his wife and then they had a child. Abraham knew his wife and Anogena knew his wife. You have to know. You have to know this person. And for some, and I'm saying this thing, it might sound um surprising or shocking, but there are people who are in marriages that don't know themselves, even physically. Even physically, people marry for years. They don't remove each other's clothes during lovemaking. They don't put on the light. They don't see each other's eyes. It has to be done in the darkness. It can only be done in the night. There are a lot of mentality. I mean, before I got married, I was told that you shouldn't make love in the afternoon. If you do make love in the afternoon, culturally believed from where I come from, if you make love in the afternoon and you get fall pregnant by it, you would have a deformed child. That bad. I don't know. I don't know which idol or which shrine or which ancestor
Wow.
preached that sermon. So there is a whole lot of wrong mentality around sex. You hear a woman has been married for 8, 10 years and she doesn't know what it means to have an orgasm. She doesn't know because she has this husband who is coming and doing what I call the hit and run. The hit and run show. Bam, it's done, it's gone. There's no love making as far as I'm concerned in that case. And so all of these ideologies need to be changed. Thank God. I'm so grateful that Brother Emmanuel helped me to bring this knowing. That's the word we are looking for. Okay, somebody say you are nailing differences between love making and sex, Ima, without complete expression and oneness of mind, body, and soul. Then it is just sex. Totally agree. That's what we're saying here. There has to be that complete expression. There has to be the talking, the toasting. It's an act. Love making is an Emmanuel says an art. They study it, oh, brothers and sisters. The thing needs studying. You read the book. We have books that you have to read. If you don't know how to do it, you don't know what to do. Learn, read, get knowledge about it, rather than just going through. Some people also believe it's just for childbearing. We come together only that time that we want to have children. So me and you, after that, what is the essence? And there are some people that go outside their marriage, quite unfortunately, to get what they think they cannot get in their marriage. Rather than speak with your spouse and say, this is what I like, this is what I would like you to be doing, this is how I would like you to touch me, this is how I would like you to treat me, they will not be tempted to go outside. Okay, so um we've established that physical connection is not enough. There has to be that emotional intimacy. Sister Titi has something to say. Say it, please. Say it, say it, sister. Say
I
it.
was just about asking a question,
Ask, my
you
love.
know,
That's why we're here.
and trying to not support really, but to say, is it possible? Because you are describing, because the general phrase we hear is you can have sex with anybody,
Yeah.
you know.
Hmm.
So is love making not possible with some other person aside from your spouse?
Of course it
Is
is.
it possible to experience that love making outside of the marriage?
Okay, let Brother Emmanuel let Brother Emmanuel answer you first.
Because the way the way it's being presented is like,
It's only with you and your spouse that you can experience it.
it should only be with you and your spouse,
Okay, now
and
you
if you
said
are
it
really
should.
into it, if you are is that is like sex is the shallow, is the you
It's the
know
fairy fairy.
yes, so the
The
love making
cocoa
is
is the
the
love
deep
making.
one that
Bam.
is supposed to, that connection that's supposed to happen with your you and your partner, you and your spouse. So
Exactly.
the question is, can that love making happen with someone that is not your spouse? Because you say you can have sex anywhere.
Yes.
So can you have love making anywhere?
Hmm. Yeah, good
Yes.
question.
Oh, me? I should respond
Our
to
time
that
is running,
question.
but let's deal with it.
That's a great question, actually.
Yeah.
So, the short answer is yes, right? The long answer is it possible to develop intimacy with someone other than your spouse? I think that's the other way to phrase the question.
Yes.
And if we say yes to that question, then we're saying technically it's possible for you
Yes.
actually to make love with someone other than your spouse.
Yes.
Um, Unfortunately, this is one of the reasons why adultery is such a big deal, because a lot of the time, before people get to the act of having sex with someone other than their spouse, they would have started developing intimacy,
Bam.
right? And that intimacy, that oneness, that unity of mind,
For the man
emotion,
or for the woman?
both people.
In
But
most
I
cases,
hear there's no, for the man, you don't really need intimacy.
I just talked about how our biology are different, right? The
Mm-hmm.
same way I mentioned briefly that, for a man, you can easily see when a man is maybe aroused because he has an erection. It's an easy tell. But for a woman, you may not be able to tell easily if she's aroused or not, right? So just because we can make that difference doesn't really mean that, okay, this really only applies to a man. You can see he has an erection, so yeah, it doesn't bother him if there's intimacy or not. So many men would probably have an erection in the presence of a naked woman, regardless of what the naked woman looks
Yeah.
like. It's just biology. Is the eye, brain, um,
No.
hormone,
and
I'm
body
not
let's
thing.
talking about
and
an
let's establish
erection.
that at that point, if anything happens, it is sex.
That's
If a
exactly what I'm
man,
trying to
if a
say.
man just sees a woman who is naked, and just because he gets an erection, as per this woman is naked, or the woman has a big bum, and the bum gets him to get an erection and he sleeps with her, that is sex. And that is why we always say you can get it anywhere at any time. Love making means that there is a connection. And like Emmanuel said, especially for the women, yes, for the man maybe, but 80% of the time for the women, when there is adultery, this is why it is a big deal. Because it means that there has been an emotional connection enough for this woman to be able to step out of her marriage. Mostly for women. For the men, some of them can just be peer pressure. Okay, everybody's in it. I also want to have a side chick. Oh, there's something she's not giving me. I want to get outside. And they might tell you, oh, well, I'm not emotionally connected to this person. Wait until that side chick is no longer there. Then you will know that they were actually emotionally connected to the person. So to answer your question, it is possible to get it outside your marriage. But what we are saying is We don't call it love making unless there's that emotional connection. It is just pure sex if there's no emotional connection. It is the reason why prostitutes can still trade. These men that they sleep with, one woman sleeps with 7, 6, 8 men in one night. There's no way they are emotionally connected to all of these men. And there's no way what they're having with these men is love making. It's sex. That's why they call it a sex trade. Nobody will ever call it a love making trade or say it's love making business. It's not. They're not selling intimacy. They're not selling connections. They're selling sex. And if you watch some movies where some people, they'll tell you, okay, maybe the man fell in love with the prostitute, then emotional connection has come in. At this point, the man is trying to rehabilitate her, maybe get her off the street, try to get her to become his own. Connection has come in. This is what we're saying. So yes, it's possible to get it outside, but we are saying that what you might get outside in most cases will be sex. But if you say you're making love with someone even outside your marriage, then it must mean that you and that person has an emotional connection. There is first the knowing of this person. There's first the joining of your heart. There's first the connection of, and this is whether we unless we want to shy away from the truth. This is how it actually works. It starts with the chats, with the compliments, with the, you know, for talk with people who have stepped outside their marriage. It always begins with either that one thing they are not getting at home. He doesn't see me, and this guy sees me. He doesn't have my time. This woman has my time. Do you get what I'm saying? So it begins with that emotional connection. What they are looking for, that is like somebody that is thirsty and gets water, and then they just want to drink it. The Bible also, uses it to like what drinking. It says, drink water from your own what? Your own fountain. The Bible talks about it like a drinking. But it says it's admonishing us to drink it from our own cistern, not from another person's own. So yes, Titi, it is actually possible to get it from anywhere. But we're saying to be able to make love with someone else, it means you also need to have an emotional connection with that person. If not,
And
it's just sex.
And if I may add, I know we use the word emotional a lot, but really intimacy there's emotional intimacy, there's physical intimacy, there's mental, intellectual intimacy, there is spiritual intimacy. All of these are things that ideally we're supposed to be experiencing in a marriage. And if you're experiencing all of these in a marriage and then you come into the bedroom, regardless of if you're having what people will call a quickie, regardless of if you're making love in the bathroom, in the most inconvenient of places, whatever it may be, you would find that it would always be lovemaking, because you're already one in every other aspect. This is now just the physical joining of everything else that's going on.
But
If I want to add, one of the key things that enhances intimacy is knowledge. And it's the reason, if I can be as bold to say, is the reason why God wrote 66 books to humanity, to reveal himself on so many different levels, so we will get the chance to be intimate with him, to
yes.
know him at such a very deep level.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine if I write 66 books about me, all about just Emmanuel, to my wife, just telling her all the different things I possibly can know about myself. And then she's reading that, studying that for years, the way Christians, we essentially study the Bible for all our life. Imagine she's just studying me only for years, and I'm studying her only for years. And I continue to peel layers upon layers and keep knowing. The more I know, the more I want to know. Right? So it applies in our marriage, and we need for you to be known, you need to be exposed. That's another thing that impacts intimacy. People get into marriage, you get into an argument, people have difficulties or a rough patch, and people close up. So now, even if I am interested in knowing you, you cannot be known if you're not exposed.
Yeah.
And perhaps the person have closed up because they're afraid.
Yes.
Vulnerability, it takes a lot of vulnerability for you to actually open up of yourself,
Yes.
especially if you've been hurt in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So God puts himself on display, right? And he leaves his love flagrantly open and says, He'll love
Whoever.
us whichever way. And sometimes, if not most times or all the times, we abuse God's love, and his love is still there. So this is me saying to all of us, to our viewers, if you feel like you're shutting yourself down from your spouse, you are hurting the intimacy of your marriage. And in so
Exactly.
doing, you are impacting the joys that you ought to be enjoying in in your bedroom. Okay, I'll stop there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you. Someone just dropped a question to say you can be married and still be emotionally disconnected. So is it just sex? This is what we have been saying here since. Yes, it's just sex. That is what we're saying. We're saying that if you are married or you are married, but you are emotionally disconnected from each other, you are no longer vulnerable to each other, you're no longer open to each other, you're no longer in the level of naked and not ashamed, naked physically, naked emotionally, naked, in every way, in every ramification of the marriage, then what you're having is just sex. And if you're being truthful, if you've been married for a while, you would know the difference. Whether you're a man or a woman, forget it. They say, oh man, it doesn't really matter to them. Yes, the man might just, okay, for the sake of physical release, just still do it. But he knows that what has just happened, there is no connection. You feel it when you have connected with someone. When it has, okay, all right. Who am I? What am I talking? Okay, so sister that have asked us the question, yes, that is what we're saying. We're saying you're just having sex. So whatever it is that may have caused the emotional disconnection, you need to work on it, build it back, and love making begins. Love making begins. One of us wrote it, and that is our central. When they say central truth, those days when we're writing they say central truth. Love making begins with emotional intimacy. We should be able to be vulnerable to each other. We should be able to be open to each other. We should be able to know. Adam knew his wife. The Bible will always say, the man knew the woman. But there was no mention of the woman knowing the man, shall. Okay.
Just it's okay.
So is it just a work for the man? Is it a man
No.
alone that should know, or the sister need to know? I mean, we were talking about this kind of topic in one program, and one man was just the way the guy busted that. You would know he was tired. He was tired and had been keeping it himself. He said, "Please, can people help my wife? Can you help me beg my wife to stop lying down like a silent partner in lovemaking?" That's why I used that statement in the video when I was talking to say, we are not silent partners, women. It is not, oh yeah, come and do, let me fulfill my marital obligation, then go your way. You are cheating yourself and cheating him. And that's my experience. I mean, you just be cheating yourself. So whatever it is that is um a barrier to your emotional intimacy, whatever is disconnecting you from that person emotionally, it's best to fix it, talk about it, repair it, work on it, and then begin to enjoy the beauty of knowing. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. In my head, there's as if I should write a book. The beauty of knowing. See that topic? Knowing. The beauty of knowing. Sister Titi, it is a beautiful thing to be known, to be seen. Okay, okay. Our time is up. And I wanted us to first to just really expatiate on how people can be married and not be naked, just like she's saying, to be married, to have that person with you, but you're not emotionally connected. But we'll not have the time to list all of the reasons why, the things that can disconnect us emotionally. Maybe another time God will give us the opportunity and we'll bring that topic back. We'll talk about emotional intimacy, how we can build and consistently keep ourselves emotionally connected. I gave us some tips in the video. If you've missed it, you can go back and watch it again. Oh, you're always fatigued, you're always tired, please share the housework together. And if you are the woman that has OCD, just remember everything cannot be done every day. You can't clean everywhere every day. Don't get yourself too tired. There's work to be done. It's not really work. It's not work when it's love making, it's fun. But when it is sex, it's work. Okay. Last comments. We have 1 minute. Our time is up. Last comment, Titi. Last comment, Emmanuel, for that for tonight.
I think that whatever it is you choose to call it in your marriage space, whether it is sex, it is love making, whatever it is you want to label it, my advice to anyone listening would be to enjoy the process. You cannot afford to not enjoy the process. And as much as it's possible, it's like I say, it's a mind thing. Tell your mind to enjoy it all the time. It's as if each time you don't enjoy it, you have just shortchanged yourself some way, somehow, So and it's something you can learn, it's something you can grow into.
Yeah,
Always enjoy the process. Always
thank you.
enjoy the process.
Fantastic. Always enjoy the process. Emmy.
Yeah, there's one thing I would say is just work on your intimacy. And intimacy is not a one stop thing. It's not a one stop. I know today and I don't have to know anymore. Unfortunately, the way it has been built, you would always need to keep knowing your spouse. This is a never ending classroom where you keep learning of the other person and you keep making yourself available to be learned. So it's both ways. And the stronger your bond, the stronger your intimacy, the sex, the love making, it becomes so easy. It becomes second nature. We'll have to practically beg you guys to stay away. That's how much you would want to be with each other physically. Uh, that's it.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Build your intimacy. Enjoy the process. I've said it and I keep saying it. Marriage is meant to be enjoyed, not endured. So if for any reason you're there, you're sighing, you're there, you're not enjoying it, please know that was not God's original intent. Something is wrong somewhere and it can be fixed. That is why we believe it. We believe so much it can be fixed. That's why we're here talking about mending fences. Okay, this is all the time that we have today. But please, the conversation is not over. You can always send us your comments, your questions. If you have watched this video, maybe after it's gone off air, it's always there on our channels. You can watch them. You can send us your comment. There's a WhatsApp number on the Facebook page. And if you send us a message on that WhatsApp number, we'll definitely respond to you. And if you are on the WhatsApp page, there's a WhatsApp group that we also have where we have some conversations. You can also bring up the topic, you have a question, or anything you want us to talk about. Let the conversation continue and let God help every one of us. Thank you again, my darlings, for always being there. I know it's not always easy. Oh, happy Mother's Day to those of you in the United States, in
North
Canada,
America.
and I think South Africa. Yeah, 3 countries I know today that are celebrating mothers. And my husband and I this week were like, my God, this Mother's Day, we don't even know which one to. There's a whole lot of Mother's Day. Like every country is celebrating their own Mother's Day. It's never too much. I agree, it's not too much. The role of mothers in our life, my goodness, we cannot overemphasize their importance. So happy Mother's Day to all of our beautiful sisters, our wives, our mothers. Keep making the home a beautiful place for our daddies and for the children. Okay, I will still say this before I go off air. On Tuesday, guess what? It's my 25th wedding anniversary on
Woo,
Tuesday.
woo, 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 woo.
I told someone
Wow.
yesterday, and the person was like, I thought you were 20 something years old. How can you now say, you see me? I'm just 4 years old, but I've been married 25 years. Yeah. So happy anniversary to me and
Happy
to this loving
anniversary.
loving husband of mine who has refused to give up on me this 25 years despite all of
Oh.
my shenanigans. He keeps putting up with me. I found one card. I love this so much. It said 25 years and we've not killed each other. Actually, we're better now than when we started, and that's all glory to God. So, every one of you, have a blessed week. I'm
Wow.
going to be having a very loving week, hopefully, enjoying my silver wedding anniversary. And I wish
Wow.
you all a love filled week. Thank you for
Congratulations.
always being there. I love you. Bye.